Hello everyone, this is Anthony, also known as Ajax Rocket, your resident shooter expert from RocketChainsaw.com. I'm a Call of Duty retiree and a Battlefield devotee, but in this video I'll be discussing Titanfall and some of the footage that's leaked out of the recent alpha. It is Jared who usually makes these videos, so please bear with me as I stumble over my words. Now, all players who took part in the recent Titanfall alpha were asked to sign non-disclosure agreements and to withhold from uploading any footage. But of course, the internet being what it is, we have seen several hours of footage leak out, and I've been lucky enough to see a huge chunk of it. I didn't take part in the alpha myself, and nor have I signed a non-disclosure agreement, so I am free to discuss what I saw, but I still won't be uploading any of the alpha footage as I don't want to cause any trouble. The first thing that I noticed from the Titanfall leaked videos was that the game has some absolutely fantastic music, and I'd call the graphics serviceable. Don't expect to be blown away by the visuals, as the game is running on a heavily modified version of the Source engine. One thing we do know is that the developers have tweeted that the textures we saw in the alpha were only running at 1/4 of what they'll be in the final game, so do expect the retail version to look significantly better. Being a first-person shooter, Titanfall will be running at 60 frames per second and at a resolution of 720p. From the initial screenshots that leaked out, we know that there's going to be a pretty comprehensive tutorial mode in the game that'll teach new players all the ins and outs of the weapons and the moves of both the Titans and the pilots. I'll quickly touch on the details of some of the weapons and the loadouts that we saw in the videos. Players will be able to choose their appearance, their weapon loadout, and several special abilities, but I'll discuss more of that later on. There's a small selection of guns in Titanfall. These include assault rifles, pistols, SMGs, and even a sniper rifle. Yes, that's right, the alpha footage was the very first confirmation that we've had that you will be able to snipe in the game. Taking out enemies is pretty easy, it only takes a few shots, and you can even take pot shots at the enemy Titan and chip away at their health, but don't expect to be headshotting enemy Titans. I personally like the fact there's only a small but still robust selection of guns in the game. It's not as overwhelming as games like Call of Duty and Battlefield, where you have tens upon tens of weapons and all their various attachments to think about. Now, a few features that have made their way from Call of Duty across to Titanfall include a kill camera, a minimap, an experience bar, and challenges. At the start of every match, you can side with one of two factions, the Militia or the IMC, and there'll be 6 human players per side. So that means, in total, there'll be 12 human players in a game. Now, you do need to remember, though, that players can have their Titans wandering around in AI mode, and there can be up to 12 AI players per side, so that means that there can be almost 50 legs on the ground battling it out. Word from players who did take part in the alpha is that the infantry combat feels very, very similar to Call of Duty. In the footage, we also frequently saw large battles between groups of enemy Titans, but as they can cause a significant amount of damage to each other and you can only call them in once every 2 minutes, I only expect to be in your Titan for less than half of the match. The key to surviving as a pilot is all about mobility and using verticality and the environment to outrun enemy Titans. The maps are designed to funnel Titans down these small corridors to these large areas where they can engage each other, so pilots can get the upper hand by zipping around, jumping on top of buildings and destroying Titans from above. Pilots will have a melee attack. It's not the knife attacks we've seen in games like Call of Duty and Battlefield, but rather it's a quick kick to the enemy torso that can send them flying. Pilots, once they call in their Titans, can get into the pilot seat at any time, just by getting close enough to their Titan and pressing X. It's a pretty clean and quick maneuver that will get you into the pilot's seat even in the middle of battle. Now, as I was mentioning earlier, pilots do have special abilities, and these might include the ability to extend your jumping abilities or the ability to cloak. Cloaking won't make you like Harry Potter in the game though, as you're still going to be able to see the silhouette of the enemy player. Titans, on the other hand, their health is going to be made up of rechargeable shields and a hull. Shields recharge pretty quickly, so if you can avoid enemy fire, you'll be okay. Now, pilots and Titans can both choose a primary and secondary weapon and special abilities. Now, if you're fighting another Titan, you're going to know how much health it's got left, because a meter will be displaying its shield and hull strength. Titans also have a melee attack that they can use if they get close to each other. Once a game is finished and one side has won, an epilogue phase starts, where surviving pilots can evacuate to a dropship to get some extra points. And judging by the videos I've seen, I think that the enemy team who has won the game can actually destroy the dropship and prevent any pilots from escaping. Now, initially players were saying that there might be some issues with the 6 versus 6 player count being too low, but I would challenge everyone who's seen the footage not to say that the gameplay doesn't look balanced, and Respawn has done a fantastic job. Well, thank you very much for tuning into my Titanfall video. Please remember to subscribe to the Rocket Chainsaw channel or leave a comment below. You can follow me on Twitter at AjaxRocket, that's AjaxRocket. You can also follow at Rocket Chainsaw 1, and of course jump onto rocketchainsaw.com.au for all video game news, reviews and information.